Support by the Hope Network Center for Autism. You can join us and be part of a mission that takes on the challenges, the barriers, the statistics, the seemingly impossible, and help us overcome them all. HopeNetwork.org/autism.
Every day at St. Louis County Jail brings a volatile mix of addicts, thieves, and killers. Tensions run high.
They're liable to snap and lose their temper and act out in a heartbeat.
Everyone has to watch their back.
If one of these persons even try to get tough with me, I know what I'm capable of doing.
Inmates don't always play by the rules.
Hey, everybody should be at your door.
And things can get ugly fast.
If they send me up to the hole, I might as well smack them with a tray or do whatever I'm going to do to them.
But there's always a price to pay at St. Louis County Jail. (7 p.m. St. Louis County Jail, Missouri. Officers rush to intake, where a new inmate is out of control.
I need you to turn around. When I open this, I need you to stoop down and put your arms through.
Police arrested the man for domestic violence. When jail officers tried to book him, he got violent.
He's screaming at the officers and not listening to what we had to say. So in order to maintain order, we have to remove him from the scene.
Turn around. Put your arms through.
10 officers stand by to get the inmate into a restraint chair.
Anytime down here that we have a situation that we're not sure how it's going to go, we call for backup. And it's a show of force, which is to have as many people as we can to show up.
The 100-pound metal chair is one of the few tools the officers have. They don't carry weapons, fearing inmates will get them.
No guns, no weapons of any kind, no knives, no billy clubs, nothing like that.
Last year, inmates attacked 34 officers here, more than in many state prisons.
Last call for cells 1 to 13, 38 to 48.
Less than 200 of the inmates are women. They're housed together regardless of their crime or risk level. The 4th floor is their home.
And step to your right.
Kiara's seen this all before, but first-timer Danielle is scared.
So, we can't, ask if we can, if me and her can be in the same cell.
We can't put you in the same area.
So I might be in the cell by myself.
Right. You might be in the cell by yourself.
Don't cry. Oh, I can't touch her. She gonna make me cry.
What's wrong? Don't want to be here? Good. I love it. That means you won't come back, right? Okay, ladies, step through the doors and stand next to cell 7. I'll open the doors for you.
We in 7?
Yes.
Despite Danielle's fears, the girls are given a cell together. Now, they'll have to learn how to play by jail rules, or they could face even more time. Before male inmates get their cell assignments, they go to the 8th floor. This is the observation deck, where officers try to determine which inmates are likely to behave themselves and which could be trouble.
Inmates come here from intake, and then they're here 3 to 5 days, and then they're classified based on the severity of the crime, how often they've been in this facility.
These inmates have their own set of rules. In their hierarchy, men accused of violent crimes are well respected. The men accused of sexual offenses are loathed. And today, a 29-year-old man has been brought in on a sex charge.
We got an inmate in today, name's Antoine Fintroy, and his caution code lists him as precautionary suicidal, and so he had to be housed with another inmate. But then he also had another caution code that listed him as a high risk, high profile.
Anton Fentroy was sent here to await trial. As a repeat offender, he's learned how the hierarchy works. He served 3 years in a state prison for burglary and arson. He avoids talking about his latest charge.
I'm hearing a more serious offense. It's not no traffic or probation violation, nothing like that. Mine's more serious.
Anton is also gay and worked as a male escort.
I mean, yeah, I'm not ashamed that I was an escort. I did what I had to do to survive. And when they say it's good money, they're not lying. It was good money. But sometimes you walk into that room and you see something you don't want to touch or be touched by. But you know your bills are due, so what can you do?
If the other inmates find out he's gay, it could make him more of a target. Sometimes gay men, perceived as weak, are forced to serve other inmates, carrying contraband or performing sexual favors. Anton may be a veteran, but he still wants to spend as little time behind bars as possible. If he can post bond, he'll get out faster. But first, he has to find a way to come up with the cash. The 5th floor, for prisoners classified as minimum security. Here, 268 inmates face sentences of a few months or less. Just 30 are in rehab.
We've had 1,000 conflicts and 1,000 arguments because you just can imagine that people coming together, especially those that are withdrawn from drugs, that have addictions, when they start sobering up, they really get on each other's nerves.
Here, the jail attempts to help inmates, like 46-year-old Daniel Kyle.
This is my 5th time for drinking and driving. It's not that I'm stupid. It's just I'm stupid. I can't say I'm innocent, you know. I broke the law, and there are consequences for that. I'm just lucky that it's not prison.
Daniel's been sentenced to a 90-day drug program called Choices. He has just 3 weeks left.
All right, stress response.
But if he breaks a single rule, he could face 5 years in prison, Missouri's automatic sentence for a 5-time DWI offender.
This is my last chance. If I don't start changing things, it's not going to be good. There's 2 places left. It's prison or death, so I don't want either one.
Daniel has even more reason to sober up. A girlfriend and a 16-month-old daughter.
I received my 5th DWI on Father's Day. My daughter was 13 months old. I just can't see her looking at me through a glass for the next 5 years.
But some inmates don't want to see others go free.
The people who aren't going to get out will trip you up just because they want you to stay because they're staying. So, you know, it's important to keep focused.
St. Louis County Jail, the 7th floor, maximum security. This is home to the county's most dangerous inmates. Many are career criminals. They're either awaiting trial or doing anywhere up to 12 months. Officer Smith must keep all 67 of them in line.
Next. Step up. I see my voice must not be that good. I must not speak very good English, because I just said no talking whatsoever in the line. Ain't what is what I say. Sorry, what's your last name, please?
Officer Smith is about to let all the inmates into the common area, called the day room, for 2 hours of rec time. Inmates sometimes use this time to try and smuggle contraband or start fights.
All right, gentlemen, before you step out of your cells, make sure there's nothing on your desk, nothing covering your vents, beds are made, room is neat, T-shirts tucked in, pants pulled up when you step out. No talking on the carpeted area, keep it quiet in the back. Today is Wednesday. That's all I have, gentlemen. Let's do this.
The men spill into the common area. With With no real windows or access to the outdoors, many are already edgy.
St. Louis County Jail is worse than a prison.
This is a structured environment. Prison is not all that structured.
In prison, you're able to go outside, you're able to lift weights. You're just in one small pod out here in this county, in St. Louis County Jail.
There's another issue. Unlike the state prisons, smoking is banned here, and now tobacco was one of the main things being smuggled in. Officer Smith is keeping an eye on one inmate he suspects of hiding tobacco.
I like standing up here because I get a nice overhead view of everything that goes on.
There's a sure way to find out. A shakedown.
This is tobacco. So, we got a chance to find a little bit of nicotine, little tobacco.
The tobacco belongs to 33-year-old Matthew O'Donnell, a repeat offender charged with theft.
I had it in my hand when I was walking out, and the cop was watching me, and I had dropped it, and he saw me drop it, I guess.
O'Donnell got the tobacco through a well-known prison method, keistering.
One of my homeboys came back from prison, and he keistered a can of kite with him, and he gave me a bullet. He had keistered it, put it where the sun don't shine. So that's how I got it in. You take a bunch of gloves, like kitchen gloves, you know what I'm saying? They'll just jam them real packed full of tobacco, super tight, about hard as a rock, you know? And up it goes.
O'Donnell thinks he may have been busted by a snitch, and snitches are despised by inmates.
I'm 99% sure somebody told on me, and I'm not used to being around people snitching and telling on you like that.
Convict code requires O'Donnell take revenge.
If I found out who told on me, I mean, I'd pretty much have to go whoop their ass and beat them, you know, jump on his head. They put me back in that same pod, and I found out this man told on me, and I didn't do nothing about it. What's it say about me?
But Officer Smith knows convict code too, and he's not going to let that happen on his floor. Smith will send O'Donnell to segregation, called the Hole, for 3 days, then have him reassigned. Fourth floor, women's housing. Best friends Kiara and Danielle have been here for 3 days, and Kiara is still awaiting a trial date.
I don't really know what's going on with court. They told me that I don't have a court date.
If Kiara isn't released in 5 weeks, she may face problems with nursing school. She desperately needs a visit from her mother to help find a lawyer who can speed up the process. But Kiara can't even leave her cell.
I got on lockdown for talking, so my weekend wasn't cool.
On lockdown, Kiara can't use the day room or phones.
I got a disciplinary action write-up for him because excessive noise. It says I ignore her warnings. She didn't even tell me to be quiet or nothing. She didn't say nothing. Yeah, I have to stay in my cell for 48 hours, and then when I get out, it's gonna be a relief because I get to go make a phone call.
Danielle is careful to follow the rules so she can stay in touch with her family and get out on time.
What you was thinking about?
See my mom. I want my mommy. My mom's scared. I want my mama.
If she behaves, Kiara will have one chance this week to see her mother tomorrow during visiting hours.
I know me. I'm gonna tell my mama a little story. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm gonna tell my mama a little story. And what's she gonna do?
She gonna run to her rescue.
You heard me. She gonna come. And then I'm gonna shed some tears so that she can go do what she do best.
Danielle will be released in just 2 days, and Kiara will be on her own. If she keeps breaking the rules, she won't even be able to see her mother, her lifeline to freedom. The 6th floor, medium security. A volatile mix of repeat offenders and new inmates eager to prove they're tough.
These are 17-year-olds, 18-year-old, 19-year-old punks.
This is Anton Fentroy's new home. He is an accused sex offender and a gay man. Either could make him a target.
You know, it's a test because you on the floor with people that's so young, they're gonna test you. You know, you just pretty much waiting for one of them to come up to you and say the wrong thing. If I get pushed, they're gonna see a whole different side of me that they never see before.
But fighting could mean even more jail time. Anton's strategy? Get out fast, on bond.
I have $25,000 cash only bond. If they expect me to come up with their money, it's probably not gonna happen.
He meets with a caseworker about hiring a bail bondsman, someone who will loan Anton the bail money for a 10% fee.
Why is it 10% when they do it?
Because it's just the way the system works. They got it set up that way that the bondsman only have to put up a 10% of your bond. So your bond is $25,000. So you pay the bondsman $2,500. And whatever type of arrangements you made with him on how much money you pay him at that point, you know, that's between you and him.
Anton's $250 short, and his mother can't spare it.
To lose my whole life for $250 would just crush me for real.
His last hope is getting a loan from a father he hardly knows.
My daddy, you know, to me, just a sperm donor. So, I mean, if he let me go homeless for $250, I don't know what I'd do.
Anton calls friends to help make a case to his father.
Just make sure you know I'm gonna be homeless. All right now, I love y'all.
Now, all he can do is hope his father will come through. Midnight, St. Louis County Jail.
Is he drunk or what?
He's drunk. Did you get him? Found him on the side of the road.
Just slide forward.
My right cuff, could someone do my right cuff? You got to put your feet down.
Here, hold tight, hold
Check
tight.
your cuffs when we get
Hold
inside.
tight.
No, I'm good. I'm real calm.
Daryl Tighe is disoriented and angry. He's been spitting, putting officers at possible risk of disease.
Do me a favor, try to keep that mask on.
Keep the mask on.
He's hurt and may need medical help.
On the side of the highway, he was sleeping underneath a guardrail. So some lady, a passerby, saw like a foot sticking out on the shoulder. So called us. Found him up, and he was like that.
Police discovered he had a warrant for unpaid child support.
I can't understand you if you're whining. If you talk, then we can listen. What is all
I'm not trying to whine.
They said they found him on the side of the road.
How'd you get all these burns?
I fell out of a truck a couple days ago.
On something, drunk, stoned, upset. We don't know at this point. He's being interviewed by the nurse. Looks like he has some road rash and a busted ankle.
But Daryl seems worse than incoherent.
Do you know what year it is?
1932.
1932?
He needs to have a mental health evaluation.
Thanks for an interesting night, that's for sure.
Daryl has to go to the psych ward for an assessment.
Abuse for like a
3rd floor, the mental infirmary. Unlike the housing units, here the inmates are separated in single cells.
Because we have the uniform.
Officers put Daryl in an 8x12 padded cell. There's nothing he can use to harm himself, not even a toilet. Now, psychologists must determine whether Daryl is mentally ill and what to do with him. On the 5th floor in minimum security, drunk driver Daniel has managed to avoid trouble for nearly 3 months. He's just 72 hours away from being released. And he's starting to get nervous about life on the outside.
Change is hard, and I'm scared. Alcohol, to me, is powerful.
But for a decade, Daniel stayed sober.
I met a young woman while I was in sobriety. She had a son when we met. He was maybe, I don't think he was even 2 years old yet. Our relationship went well. We ended up getting married, and we had a good life for about 10 years. She ended up dying of a heart attack, which I took pretty hard.
After her death, Daniel's stepson went to live with his real dad, and Daniel lost control.
I ended up getting my third DWI after her death. And I went to jail.
Then tragedy struck.
It was on his 19th birthday. My stepson was in the car with his friend. They had been drinking, and he went head-on into a tree.
His stepson died, and Daniel came face to face with the driver in jail.
He's just a kid. He's 19. He messed up. You know, it's a strange twist of fate that it has happened to me at both ends. It's something that sometimes it's hard to grasp.
If he can get through the next 72 hours, Daniel hopes to prove that this time he'll stay sober. It's 4th of July weekend at the St. Louis County Jail.
Don't put me on y'all media, go.
And down in intake, the place is heating up.
I spit in them.
Your ID gets seized. To some road. To some road.
You know it's fun when you get locked up in your underwear.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Suddenly, fire alarms go off upstairs in the psych ward. Officers discover a patient's flooded half the floor by setting off the sprinkler in his cell.
Someone was probably banging on it. That's how it usually sets off. It usually happens probably, I don't know, 3-4 times a month.
It's a common way inmates harass officers. Now, the inmate who did it is having a violent fit. Officers put him in a restraint chair to keep him from hurting himself. Staff say the inmate may just be trying to stay in this ward to avoid being in general population. The inmate says it was an accident, but tampering with fire equipment is a felony.
Just so you know, you're going to be charged with damage to jail property. All right, that's going to be a felony. So you're going to be charged with damage to jail property. It's a felony? Yep, it's a felony.
The news agitates the man further.
This chair is burning my arms. It's burning your arms. I can't breathe. Can't breathe. Yes, please let me out of this chair. Relax. It's freaking me out.
Relax. Well, we're going to be watching you, okay?
The officers have no choice but to leave the inmate alone until he calms down. Sixth floor, medium security. Anton hasn't been able to convince his father to give him the additional $250 in bail he needs. Now, some other inmates have started hitting on him.
They'll stare at you for a long time. And you just do not give them too much eye contact, or they'll offer you stuff, or they'll, come and talk to you, or they'll say, come watch me play basketball or watch me play handball. And I'm like, for what? Or they'll take off their shirt and be looking at you, and I'm like, do I got gay written on my forehead or something? I mean, since I was born like this, I don't understand what makes a straight man turn gay just because he's in four walls. I don't understand it.
Anton's trying to lay low, but in jail, young inmates want to prove themselves, so there's trouble all around. As Anton heads back to his cell, he witnesses a fight between a pair of prisoners.
Hey, everybody should be at your door. Everybody locked down, let's go. Where you come from?
He just started swinging on the boy. He must have had some type of beef with the boy. The boy probably been saying stuff about him, running his mouth. And he just hit him. He got him.
Hey, everybody should be at your door.
I didn't expect that at all. That shocked me.
Both inmates will get 30 days in the hole and face additional time. It's exactly what Anton wants to avoid. But if inmates keep hitting on him, things could get ugly fast. The women's unit, 4th floor. Alone now, Kiara has managed to stay out of trouble and is getting released from lockdown. After 5 days in jail, she'll finally be able to see her mother and ask for help getting a lawyer.
Miss Taylor, your 7 o'clock visit is here.
She good plan. Now I get to tell her to go check on my lawyer.
Inmates get just 2 40-minute visits a week. Kiara has to convince her mom to help her get out of jail fast so she can start nursing school in just a few weeks.
That's all. I don't want to be sitting there until I get a court date. But these people been in here for like 2 or 3 months before they got a court date. I don't want to be sitting here like that.
But this is the second time Kiara's asked for help with bail, and her mother is skeptical.
Hopefully you learn your lesson, Kiara, because this ain't no...
I did learn my lesson the first time not to be coming in here. This is not where I want to be at, you know. Hold on, time out. Let me tell you.
Because 2 weeks was nothing. Months gonna be something.
I'm not going to sit in here no months because I'm going to go crazy. I just got off of lockdown today. Ask them. I just got off of lockdown today at 2.
For what?
This mouth.
Well, you better control your mouth, Kiara. What you think, you at home or something? All right.
Kiara's mother says she'll think about it, but she's not convinced.
Bye, Mama.
Kiara, I'm going to teach her a lesson. She going to have to sit in here a while because if I get her out, she just, you know, they say one thing behind this window and cry. Them crocodile tears ain't gonna get it this time. Cause I done went through this once before. Bye. They crying don't mean nothing. I mean, I know my daughter. I just believe she just faking.
To get out, Kiara will have to prove to the person she least expected that she's willing to change.
Anybody's got business, go ahead and put them in, please. Turn on all the lights.
On the 5th floor, drunk driver Daniel Kyle is just 14 hours away from being released.
511, doors open, step out.
When officers come in to do a shakedown in the adjoining housing unit.
Take a spot on the wall.
Each week, officers target a different unit, searching for drugs, weapons, or other contraband.
Come down the steps. Put your shoes in front of you. Take your shoes out, put them in front of you, please.
If officers find any contraband, they could shake down the entire floor, including Daniel's cell.
Sometimes they hide contraband in the soles of the shoes.
If he or his cellmate have anything prohibited, they both could face more time. Illegal items could be anywhere, in books, food, walls, even the toilet.
Some good gambling dice right there.
An inmate has formed a paste from urine and sugar and molded it into gambling dice. It's a common method in jail, where gambling is not allowed. Officers don't find anything more dangerous. Still, they put the unit on lockdown. But Daniel's unit is spared. Now, he can graduate from his rehab program.
My next one up is one of the guys in the group. When he first started talking, he was just so, the group just embraced him with his story, with his ability to feel whatever he was feeling. So I want to give the next one, Mr. Kyle.
Thank you. I wrote a little something here. People have told me that I'm a man of few words, but on rare occasion I have put pen to paper, and this is one of them. Sharing our life story was a hard thing to do. You all did very well. I found myself seeing life through your eyes. I realized that when I listened to your words, that no one was black or white, just men battling life, giving me a renewed hope for the future. Gentlemen, it has been my honor.
Daniel is set to get out at midnight. He's had 3 months to face his demons and plan a life of sobriety. But once Daniel leaves, the hard part begins.
Here, everything is controlled. When you go to bed, when you wake up, what you eat, what you're allowed to have, what you're not allowed to have. When I walk out the door into the world, it's up to me. I'm nervous about getting out too, because there's always that possibility I could go back to start drinking again and mess things up. And I don't want to do that. I feel pretty positive about it. I can't help but be apprehensive,
On the women's floor, Kiara is back on lockdown. With no access to phones or visits, she can't find out whether her mother will help her or not.
This is my calendar. It has the days I got arrested, and I've been on lockdown all of the days I've been here except for the 7th, and I want to say like 29th. But all the other days I've been on lockdown.
In 3 weeks, she's been written up 5 times.
Then this one right here is the new one that she wrote me up. False, she just made this one up, just wanted to write me up and made sure she put that the inmate has several write-ups, but continues to display behavior that is not tolerated.
Every write-up Kiara gets could add time to her sentence, ruining her chances of going back to school. But she's not backing down.
Officer that I called her and we was going back at it with each other, one another. I was calling her that B, all type of stuff, and she was talking back to me. She was like, woo, that ain't nothing, because I always get called that and all this other stuff, some about on the street. All right, catch me on the street. You ain't gonna have on that uniform forever.
One more confrontation, and Kiara will be sent to segregation, known to inmates as the hole.
And I'm not gonna sit here and bite my tongue for nobody. But if they still talking about sending me up to the hole, I might as well get everything off my chest and smack them with a tray or do whatever I'm gonna do to them.
But Kiara's never been to the hole.
You mess with your mind, you know what I'm saying? You sitting here by yourself, you ain't got nobody to talk to, this ain't the place to be.
It ain't right up in here, man. Not at all, dude. It's locked down, ain't nothing going on. I look up here, see life delivered, ain't good at all.
These 50 inmates are confined to their cells 23 hours a day.
These are, once again, the high classification inmates.
which means their tempers can go from 0 to 10 in a matter of seconds.
Some are high profile, serial killers or child abusers. The rest broke jail rules. And if Kiara continues to be written up, she could be living amid these inmates for months to come. After 3 weeks, Anton Fentroy has finally heard from his father.
Well, my mom and my daddy came through, so I got bonded out, be able to think about what could happen down the line. At least I'm going home now, that's all that's important, so.
He plans to fight the sexual offense charges.
I actually have to beat this case, so I don't end up back here.
But for now, Anton's relieved to be going back home.
I can walk. As long as I'm at home, I'm cool.
Now, he has to find a way to pay a lawyer in the hopes he can avoid coming back. In the women's unit, Kiara's off lockdown for the first time in 2 weeks. Officers warned her that she was getting in so much trouble, she might end up in the hole for months.
When they tell me about going to the hole till I get out, that really upsetting me. That upsetting me because I don't want to be up there. I can't see my mama, my friends, or nobody. Can't talk to them.
She now understands that she has to play by the officers' rules.
What I learned is to just keep my mouth closed because they're going to always be right. So I can't win with them, you know.
Now, her mother is willing to help her.
When I talked to her, she was doing everything, calling the people what I asked her to do. She was doing all stuff. She got my back. I'm hoping to be out by August 10th or so, though. I hope I make it back to school on time.
Kiara still doesn't have a trial date, but says while she waits, she'll do what it takes to avoid getting in more trouble.
I just don't say nothing when they give me attitude. I just inhale, exhale. Take a deep breath. Think about it.
It's nearly midnight. Time for Daniel to be released.
There's a clock on the wall.
Soon, he'll be able to see his girlfriend and 16-month-old daughter.
Ready to get out of here?
503 to Master Control, let me get the pin on 5 Bravo for release.
He's intentionally asked his girlfriend not to meet him.
It's important that my daughter gets her sleep, keeps her routine, so I'll be able to catch up with her bright and early in the morning.
Now, he must face his demons alone.
I have fear about being released because it is a big world. You have to rely on yourself, and it's scary. Because I know the possibility that I could go to prison again.
Right. 90 days is over. I'm back out. It smells good out here. Happy to be out.
After 6 weeks in jail, Kiara was also released. A judge granted her 5 years probation for the forgery charge. She enrolled in nursing school the following week. Only time will tell if she, Daniel, or Anton will be back. But if they cross the line again, there's always a cell waiting at St. Louis County Jail.
Red line runs all the way around the room.
Support by the Hope Network Center for Autism. You can join us and be part of a mission that takes on the challenges, the barriers, the statistics, the seemingly impossible, and help us overcome them all. HopeNetwork.org/autism.